President Joe Biden visited Florida to assess the widespread destruction caused by Hurricanes Milton and Helene, which left large parts of the state submerged in floodwaters, damaged homes, and without power. Speaking at a news conference in St. Pete Beach, Biden acknowledged the overwhelming toll the storms have taken on the people of Florida. People have lost family members and all their personal belongings, Biden said, expressing empathy for residents who have faced the brunt of the disaster. Both Hurricanes Milton and Helene wreaked havoc on Florida within weeks of each other. While Milton wasn't as severe as initially predicted, it still killed at least 18 people and destroyed more than 100 buildings, exacerbating the devastation left behind by Helene, which caused significant flash flooding in several states, including North Carolina. As Biden toured the wreckage in St. Pete Beach, where homes and debris were strewn across the streets, he reassured residents that more federal assistance was on the way. He highlighted efforts to remove the vast number of debris scattered across neighborhoods, promising continued support to help the state recover. "We're doing everything we can," Biden said, acknowledging the challenging road ahead. Florida has made progress in restoring power, with about 75% of electricity back online. Full restoration is expected by Tuesday, according to Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, who accompanied Biden on the tour. However, nearly 1 million residents remain in the dark, and gas stations across the state, especially in the Tampa area, are experiencing fuel shortages. Efforts to open more fuel distribution sites are underway, aiming to ease the shortage in hard-hit areas. Flooding remains a significant concern, especially around Tampa Bay and the Sanford area northeast of Orlando, where rivers are still rising. Emergency management officials have warned that some residents may need to evacuate if water levels continue to increase. "We're closely monitoring the situation," Florida Division of Emergency Management Director Kevin Guthrie said, urging residents to stay alert to evacuation orders. The hurricane relief efforts have also been clouded by political tensions. With the upcoming November presidential election, Biden's response to the hurricanes has become a point of contention between his administration and former President Donald Trump. Trump has criticized the Biden-Harris administration's handling of the storms, accusing them of being slow to act and provide sufficient aid. In response, the Biden administration has countered these claims, accusing Trump of spreading misinformation and undermining trust in relief efforts. During a speech in North Carolina, Vice President Kamala Harris addressed the issue of disinformation, stating that it makes it harder for people to access life-saving information when trust in official sources is eroded. "Those spreading lies are making it harder for people in need to get the help they deserve," she said, without naming Trump directly. Despite the political back and forth, Biden announced an additional $612 million in federal funding to bolster Florida's electric grid and assist in rebuilding infrastructure. The president also called on Congress to approve more funding for FEMA to meet the long-term needs of disaster recovery, stressing the importance of preparing for future storms as climate change continues to fuel more intense and frequent hurricanes. Local officials, including St. Pete Beach Mayor Adrian Petrilla, expressed gratitude for the federal assistance, but emphasized the need for continued support to rebuild communities that have been severely impacted by the storms. "We need a path forward to ensure that our community and others emerge stronger than before," Petrilla said. As residents begin to rebuild and recover from the devastation, Biden's visit underscores the gravity of the situation and the ongoing federal commitment to provide much-needed relief to those affected by Hurricanes Milton and Helene. Biden surveys St. Pete Beach devastation, pledges continued support for Florida's recovery. During a visit to St. Pete Beach, President Joe Biden expressed empathy and support for the community hit hard by Hurricanes Milton and Helene. "Residents are heartbroken and exhausted, and their expenses are piling up," Biden said, while surveying the destruction left behind by the storms. Streets were littered with remnants of homes and personal belongings, including scattered mattresses, couches, siding, and kitchen cabinets, many still covered in sand. A pungent smell of mold filled the air as Biden walked through the area with emergency responders. One homeowner had scrawled the word "help" across a pile of debris. Addressing the issue of cleanup, Biden acknowledged residents' concerns about debris removal. "It's obvious why you're concerned, and we're doing everything we can to help," he said, standing in front of a beach house that had been knocked off its foundation. The National Weather Service has warned that flooding is expected to persist in the Tampa Bay area and Sanford, northeast of Orlando, as rivers continue to rise. Florida Division of Emergency Management Executive Director Kevin Guthrie urged residents to be prepared for potential evacuations. Although 75% of Florida's power grid has been restored, approximately 818,000 residents remain without electricity 5 days after the storm. Full restoration is expected by Tuesday evening, said Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, who accompanied Biden. However, fuel shortages are also affecting recovery efforts, with nearly a third of Florida's gas stations running out of fuel, particularly around Tampa. To address this, 6 more fuel distribution sites were slated to open over the weekend. Biden witnessed the extent of the devastation firsthand as his helicopter flew from Tampa to St. Petersburg, giving him a bird's-eye view of shredded neighborhoods, damaged golf courses, and even the ruined roof of the Tampa Bay Rays Tropicana Field Stadium. At least 17 people have been confirmed dead due to Hurricane Milton, a far lower toll compared to the 200-plus deaths caused by Hurricane Helene. Officials attribute the difference to more residents evacuating ahead of the second hurricane. The back-to-back hurricanes have renewed concerns about the impact of climate change on the increasing intensity and frequency of storms. The extensive damage has also raised questions about the resilience of Florida's infrastructure, with many residents questioning how the state can rebuild to withstand future hurricanes. While Milton was not as catastrophic as initially predicted, analysts estimate insured losses between $30 billion and $60 billion. Biden approved federal aid to help residents and local governments manage expenses, announcing $612 million in funding for 6 new utility projects in affected areas. However, the president emphasized the need for additional funding from Congress to prepare for potential future disasters as the hurricane season continues for another 7 weeks. He urged lawmakers, who are on recess until after the November 5th presidential election, to return to Washington to approve more FEMA aid. Congress needs to move quickly, Biden said. It's important. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson has resisted appeals for additional disaster assistance, citing the need for states to fully assess damage before submitting aid requests to Congress. The response to the hurricanes has also been complicated by misinformation, some of it promoted by Republican lawmakers and former President Donald Trump, who is challenging Vice President Kamala Harris for the presidency. Trump criticized the Biden-Harris administration for its response to the hurricanes, while Biden's team dismissed the claims as falsehoods. In a speech in North Carolina, Harris accused certain figures of spreading misinformation, which she said was impeding the delivery of life-saving aid. It's making it harder for people to trust the help they need, she said, without mentioning Trump by name. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who did not meet Biden during his visit, stated that the state would remove as much debris as possible in the next 3 months to maximize federal assistance. Speaking from Treasure Island, surrounded by destroyed furniture, DeSantis focused on cleanup efforts, but avoided direct comments on Biden's visit. As cleanup continues, Floridians and residents of the eastern U.S. might find some solace in the latest forecast. For the first time in weeks, the National Hurricane Center has announced that no tropical cyclones are currently forming in the Atlantic, providing a temporary break from the onslaught of storms.
If this video grabbed your attention, don't miss our next live discussion on another hot-button issue, led by our aspiring journalists, only on U.S. News Now. Thanks for watching.